It's our first time doing this, but let's see if you can. Hold up. Let's see if you can hold up. Can you hold up? We're gonna find out. We are going to find out. What's going on, everybody? Hope everybody's having a good day, good week, good month, good year, good afternoon, wherever it happens to be for you, whatever the time denomination happens to be for you. I know a lot of y'all watch these on replay. Shout out to everybody who is watching this live. Shout yourselves out in the comment section. Tell me your name and location. If you are watching this live right now, I am recording this live right now. If you are watching this live, shout yourselves out in the comment section. My son shouted himself out, so now your time. Shout yourselves out in the comment section. Tell me your name and location. We're going to get into this in about 30 seconds. We don't know how much time he's going to give us here, so we're going to get right into this very quickly. We're going to see how long he can last. It's the first time I try to do a live stream holding him. We're going to see if he can make it. He is 7 months. 7 months of age right now, so we don't know. We don't know what we're going to get out of him. He's not a professional yet, so we can only guess what we can get out of this gentleman right here. But you know what you're going to get out of me. Y'all know my work. Y'all know what I do. So y'all coming in, shout yourselves out. We got Sophia checking in from California. Good afternoon. We got Michelle checking in from Miami. We got Mike checking in from Los Angeles. Thank you. I appreciate that, Michelle. All right, everybody. For those of you who don't know who I am, my name is in Facebook. I'm live on Facebook as well. It's Facebook.com/workonyourgame. So any of you who's a Facebook user, make sure you like my Facebook business page. It is called Work on Your Game. If you're on Facebook, you can't really see my son because of the angle of the camera. But there he is. If you're on Facebook, he's down there. You can see him a little bit. But anyway, those of you who don't know me, my name is Dre Baldwin. Many know me as Dre all day. And anytime he drops something, I got to stop and pick it up. He just dropped something. Oh, somehow I'm supposed to pick it up. All right. Now we're back. All right. Those of you who don't know me, my name is Dre Baldwin. Many know me as Dre all day. I'm a former 9-year pro athlete, author of 33 books, done 4 TED Talks, created this whole brand called Work on Your Game. It's all about taking the mental tools and the strategies to help athletes get to the top 1% in sports. And what we do is we translate those tools over from the sports world to the business world to help professionals like yourselves perform at a higher level, be more consistent, and make more money. So here's what we're going to do today. We're going to talk about this concept of imposter syndrome. If you see my reel that I posted earlier today, I posted it both to Facebook and to, you can't be interrupting me while I'm talking, both to Facebook and to Instagram. I posted it today about imposter syndrome. I'm going to go deeper on the points that I made in that reel to help all of you understand how to get over this, because this is a big mindset thing. And my foundation of everything that I started back from my days as an athlete, back when I used to post basketball videos to YouTube all the time, to getting into working with professionals and entrepreneurs like yourselves, and to what I do now, the foundation of what we do has always been mindset. So even though the focus might be at times, somebody might come to me because you're trying to start a business or you're trying to make more money. Listen, we're going to get to that. We're absolutely going to get to that. And in the process of doing that, we have to work on the mindset, because I talked about this in a reel that I posted yesterday. That money mindset, actually, I did a video on this as well. That mindset around money is going to determine how you're able to make it, or how much you can make or how much you don't make. The mindset around everything that we're doing. So that's why I talk about mindset so much in everything that I do. So we're going to talk here today about imposter syndrome. What exactly is imposter syndrome? Imposter syndrome is when you feel like the situation that you're in or the position that you hold is higher than you are actually capable of. Your capabilities are not measuring up to your accomplishments. That's imposter syndrome. So you have accomplished a certain level. Let's say you went from making 60 grand a year to making $300,000 a year, and you feel like you are not actually worthy of earning $300,000 a year. So you have imposter syndrome. What'd you say? You got something to say? All right, clearly he has something to say. So when as I was saying, I interrupted here, that your level of accomplishment is higher than what you are actually capable of. And when you feel this way, here's the problem with this, because it's more than you just feeling bad about yourself or not feeling super confident. Yes, that's one part of it, but here's what happens, because we all know it's be, do, and have, right? How you are thinking and how you feel about yourself leads to what? Being leads to doing. How you feel leads to your actions, and your actions lead to your outcomes. So if you go from making 60 grand a year to making 300 grand a year, what happens is you will start to do self-sabotaging actions that will make sure you go back to, outcome-wise, whatever you actually believe about yourself, whatever you actually feel about yourself. So if you feel you are worth 60 grand a year, but you have 300 grand a year, you're going to take actions that are going to bring you right back to that 60 grand. This is, and I'll give you an example of this if you want to, if any of you want proof. Think about people who are, they don't make a lot of money, but they go play the lottery. And usually people who play the lottery don't make a lot of money. That's why they're playing the lottery in the first place. And then they go win. They hit the jackpot and they win a couple $1 million, whatever it is. Now this person, so this is not my microphone off. So this person didn't have a lot of money to begin with, but when they go hit that lottery, now they got $25 million or $2 million or $50 million, but their mindset never changed. Their money mindset never changed, and who they see in the mirror never changed. That image that they had of themselves. So they saw themselves as what they were, which is somebody who was making 40 grand a year or 35 grand a year. So what are this person going to do over the next 10 years? You know what they'll do? They're going to take actions, and they're going to take non-actions as well, that will bring them right back down to the level that they were at before. This is what imposter syndrome does. So imposter syndrome is more pernicious than you just not feeling good about yourself or feeling like you're not worthy. Yes, that's a thing, but it becomes tangible, because what happens is you will take actions to reflect what you actually believe about yourself, especially if that belief is something negative. Negativity travels faster than positivity, and negativity produces its results faster than positive energy. Negative energy produces results faster than positive energy does. This is the reason why, number one, it's easier to be negative, and number two is why when someone is working on doing something that will help you feel positive, it takes longer to produce a result. This is why most people can't do it for that long, because it's harder to stay positive than it is to stay negative. Everybody understand the preface to all of this? So let's get into the points. Number one, how do you deal with imposter syndrome whenever you are feeling it? First thing you have to do is you have to fix your belief. That's right. You got to fix your belief. You got to fix how you believe about yourself, and you have to fix what you see in the mirror. That's why I have this book right here called The Mirror of Motivation. The reason I have this book, the reason I get this book out for free, the reason I promote it so much, that this book is all about how do you change what you see in the mirror? Who do you see when you look at yourself? When you change what you see in the mirror, it will change your actions. When you change your actions, it will change your outcomes. I give you this book for free. You just go to mirrorofmotivation.com. I'll put a link to that book in the chat. So any of you who has not yet gotten that book, you can get it by just going to that link that I'm putting in the comments here on both Instagram and Facebook, mirrorofmotivation.com. Here's what I mean by changing your beliefs. It is changing who you see. And the way that you do that, there's a process for changing who you see. The key to this whole thing is what we call mental conditioning. Now, you already got that book. Good stuff, Sophia. So mental conditioning is all about how you train your mind for what you are seeing in front of you, specifically when you're looking at yourself. That's the most important mental conditioning that you do. The same way that an athlete, when we play sports, you play a sport that has running in it. So you could take a sport like boxing, or boxing doesn't actually have running, but combat athletes usually do some kind of running for conditioning, or basketball players or football where there's actually running in the game. We do conditioning exercises all the time. Now, why do we do them? We don't do them because the conditioning means we are never going to get tired in the game. All right. You watch an NBA game, the best athlete on the court gets tired if they run up and down the court enough times. They feel fatigue. The difference is not in whether or not you feel the fatigue. The difference is how soon do you recover from it and go right back to being at full speed. That's what being well conditioned is about. How quickly can you recover from something happening and going right back to the zone that you need to be in? Mental conditioning works the exact same way. When you are fully conditioned, and you are properly conditioned is a better way of saying it. When you're properly conditioned, here's what happens. Something can happen that you don't want to happen. You get annoyed. You get frustrated. Somebody pisses you off. Somebody does something they weren't supposed to do. Somebody doesn't follow through on something they were supposed to do, and you feel annoyed about it. You get thrown off your game for a second. The question is not whether or not that happens. The question is, how long do you stay there before you get right back to your game, before you get right back to your process, whatever that process is supposed to be. That's what mental conditioning is about. So if I get annoyed, or I get frustrated, or I have something go left that was supposed to go right, or something go backwards that was supposed to go forward, or vice versa, it's not a matter of if it happens or not. It happens to everybody. The question is, How long do I stay in that space of not feeling good about the situation before I get right back to, okay, how do I recover? How do I adjust? How do I make my changes that I need to make and get right back to the game that I'm supposed to be playing? That's what mental conditioning is about. What does this have to do with imposter syndrome? It is you have to condition your mind not only for getting over the stuff that you don't want, which is the mental toughness angle, but it's how do you condition your mind for your confidence, for the level of self-belief that you want to have. And that's all in this framework right here in this book. Right, you see this yellow book above my shoulder? It's called the Super You. What is the Super You? The Super You is about you living at your highest possible level of confidence, your highest possible level of self-esteem. And the Super You is not about you faking it until you make it. I know many of you are familiar with that phrase, fake it till you make it. We don't believe in that over here. I did a whole TED talk on fake it till you make it, or not on it, but I talked about why faking it till you make it is not what you want to be doing. Why do you not want to fake it? The reason you don't want to fake it is because when you tell yourself that you're faking it, you kind of become like Cinderella. You remember the story of Cinderella? In Cinderella, what happens? She's wearing rags and living in the house and having to basically do chores all day and living basically like an indentured servant. But then when she puts on the glass slipper, all of a sudden she has this beautiful ball gown and she becomes this beautiful goddess or princess, right? Isn't that what happens? Is that what happened? Yes, that's right. Then what happens when the clock strikes 12, because during that period, she, with that slipper on, she becomes somebody different, right? But then when the clock strikes 12, what happens when the clock strikes 12, son? Do you know? All right, when the clock strikes 12, I'm going to tell him the same time I tell you what happens. Now she goes right back to wearing the rags again. She's not this beautiful princess anymore. Why? Because the clock struck 12 on her pretending. This is what happens when you fake it till you make it, is that you're pretending to be something that you're not. That's not what you want to do. With the Super You, you are still being you. You're just being you at your highest possible level of confidence. And that leads me to point number 2. Let me explain to you how you actually do this. Because some of you may say, okay, Dre, you kind of got me. I'm going in that direction. You got me going in the direction of what you're saying here. How do we actually do this? Let me tell you how you do it. The way you do this is you borrow your confidence. So if you're ever feeling imposter syndrome, you're in a position that maybe you think you might not be good enough to be in. All right, maybe you don't think you're worthy of being on this stage, or you're worthy of being in this room, or you're worthy of being on this platform, or you're worthy of making this money, or you're worthy of having whatever success. Here's what you're going to do. You're going to borrow the confidence of somebody who is worthy of being in that position. So if you're playing basketball, for example, and you think you're not good enough to be playing on this court with these players or get this reward or get this trophy, whatever it is, I want you to think of who your favorite basketball player is. And I'm just using basketball as an example. Think of your favorite basketball player. Let's say your favorite player is LeBron James or Steph Curry or Michael Jordan or Kobe Bryant, whoever you like, right? I want you to ask yourself, how would that person walk onto the court or walk into the gym, or if you're a professional speaker or you're a coach or you're a business person, you're an entrepreneur, how would that person walk onto the stage or walk into the room, or how would they carry themselves every day if they were in a position that you're in right now? What kind of confidence would they have? What kind of energy would they have? How would they feel about themselves? Since they are worthy, since you believe that they're worthy, how would they feel walking into that space? It'd be different than how you feel, right? So I want you, once you decide who that person is, who that associated individual is who's worthy, I want you to carry yourself as if you were that individual. Right? Carry yourself like that person. Go to the game and play with the energy, the mindset of the LeBron or the Steph Curry. What else we got? The thing with your kid, you got to keep giving them stuff so they stay distracted. I got like 10 items over here that he keeps going through. So anyway, you carry yourself with the energy of that individual. Then you go out there and perform, right? Now that you've performed, now you don't have to borrow confidence from anybody, because now what do you have? You have proof of yourself doing it. So now you don't have to use somebody else as a proxy for your confidence. You just borrowed confidence from someone else for a minute or two or for a day. And now you can use yourself as the example of confidence that you need. You don't need to borrow from anyone else. Let me see what else we got. You don't need to borrow from anyone else. You can use them as the example of your confidence. No more need to, you can use you, excuse me. You don't need to use them anymore. So that's what the Super You is all about. Borrowing your confidence from another person. This is a temporary thing. So this is not Cinderella, or is it? It's not Cinderella. When the clock strikes 12, your confidence does not go away, because you're not borrowing, you're not living off of somebody else. You're not pretending to be something else. You're not faking it till you make it. You're not faking. The Thing is, when you tell your subconscious mind that you're faking something, you're pretending to be something, that the subconscious mind understands that the faking at some point has to end. The problem with faking ending is that you got to go back to who you were before. So that's why we don't buy into faking over here. We buy into doing things for real. That's why we talk about the be, do, have principle, who you are being as a person. So the super you is still you being you. You're just being you at your highest level of confidence, and you can stay there for as long as you want. That's why I told you about mental conditioning in the first point. So you condition yourself to be this person. You condition yourself to feel this way so that it becomes a permanent thing, not a temporary thing. Everybody get what I'm saying here? All right, so that's the second thing that you do is you condition yourself for this frame of mind. Let me see. So the second point, again, is lying to yourself. And I just use that as a tongue-in-cheek thing. When I say lie to yourself, I kind of mean it in a tongue-in-cheek way that you're pretending to be something. What else we got? I'm just randomly grabbing stuff that he can play with without killing himself. All right, and see how long it keeps him occupied. So first point, mental conditioning. Second point, borrow your confidence. It's not faking it till you make it. You are tapping into the super you. Here's the third point. Third thing you're going to do is what we call writing your script. What does writing your script mean? Any of you watch movies? I'm not a big movie watcher, but any of you watch TV shows or movies, y'all know how it works, right? When an actor or actress goes to the set to perform, what do? They know their lines before they start saying lights, camera, action, right? A good actor or actress, they have at least read their lines. Now, they might not have memorized them all because I've seen them filming TV shows and movies, and sometimes if the actor or actress forgets their line, one of the production assistants comes over and they'll like show them, all right, this is what you're supposed to say, or you forgot your line. You said this, but you're actually supposed to say this, or they'll be laughing or whatever it is, and they'll just do it over until they get it right. But the point is, you know what your lines are supposed to be. Actor or actress doesn't just make up lines. Now, they might ad-lib at some points, but overall, there's a script. There's a framework for what's supposed to be happening, right? Everybody got that? There's a framework for it. So you need to write out your script as to what exactly you want to happen. How do you do that? You do that through things like goals, plans, and expectations. Goals, plans, and expectations. If you follow my work, if you follow me on my Instagram story, you hear me talk about this all the time. Facebook story as well. I always tell people when it gets around the end of every month, when it gets around the 20th of every month, that's like the last third of every month, I always start telling you, hey, start writing your goals out for next month. At the end of the year, I start telling people around like Halloween, start writing your goals out for next year. At the beginning of every week, you should have goals for the week. Every day, you should have goals for the day. What is the purpose of goals? What are goals? Goals are your expectation of your future success. That's what a goal is an expectation of future success. And I am a firm believer that to have great outcomes, you must have great expectations. I know you may have heard some people say, have no expectations so you won't be disappointed. Listen, that's loser talk. Anybody you hear talking like that, I'm not saying they're a loser, but that's loser talk. All right, don't talk like that. You want to have high expectations and great expectations for your future. That's why you set your intentions that I am going to achieve success. I'm going to do this. I have this goal. I have this outcome. You want to have them written down, and you want to be reminding yourself of your goals on a consistent basis. The reason why you continually remind yourself of your goals is so that your subconscious mind and your conscious mind knows what it's focused on. It knows what the plan is. A goal is a plan, or at least is a destination, let's say. A goal is the destination of your future success. Everybody here has driven a car before, right? Or at least you rode in a car. When you're riding in a car and you put your directions in, your GPS, what does the GPS do? GPS looks at where you are. It looks at where you want to be. And what does it do? It gives you a map between here and there, and it tells you how to get there, right? Isn't that how GPS works? All right, son, what do you want to play with? What do you want? What do you want to play with? Half your toys are on the floor. All right, I think we're going to have to give you a mommy in a second. Okay, so the purpose of the GPS, that's the goal, the destination. Then the map reverse engineers how do you get from where you are to where you want to be. That's why you set goals, so you know exactly where you're going and exactly how you're going to get there. And here's the great thing about GPS, the navigation, that even when you mess it up, you take a wrong turn, or you're supposed to turn left, but instead you turn right. What does the GPS do? It recalibrates. It recalibrates in the process. And what does it do? It tells you, all right, now here's how you're going to get there. Now the trip was supposed to take 15 minutes. Now it's going to take 13 minutes because the traffic changed, or it's going to take 20 minutes because you made a wrong turn, but it adjusts along the way for everything that you do. That's the same thing that your goals do. Your goals adjust along the way for what you are doing. Now I think he needs some milk. So I think mommy's going to come get you in a second. Mommy, he needs some milk. So she'll come get you in a second. So that's what goals do. Yeah. All right. I'll get this stuff later. All right. So everybody follow what I said so far. Writing your script out. Great actors and actresses, they know their script. They write out what they're going to do, and then they go and they get it done. And when you are a good method actor, any of you knows anything about the acting world, a good method actor can step into the role of any character that they're supposed to play. So your favorite actors and actresses, they're not that person in real life, but when they get on the set and those cameras turn on, they become that other person. I heard the story that Will Smith, when he was doing that Muhammad Ali movie, that he wouldn't even ask. He stepped so much into the character of Muhammad Ali that he would only answer to somebody calling him Ali, because he was so much into the character. You couldn't even call him by his actual name because he was so deep into the character just so he could play that role as best as he possibly could. And that's what you need to do. And again, the difference between an actor or actress and you is that they are pretending to be somebody else. You are being you. That's the difference. That's why you got to get clear. Now, you might be wondering, well, how do I even design what the ideal me looks like? Well, you need to read this book right here called The Super You. Then you need to read this book right here. See this red book right here? It's called The Mental Workbook. That book is all about how you program your subconscious mind to be the type of person who you want to be. All of this stuff is doable. All of this stuff is strategic. All of this stuff is figure outable, but you do have to actually do the work. I'm going to tell you what the work is, and I'm going to tell you how to do the work, but you do have to actually do the work. All that said, let me recap these 3 points that I just gave you here on how to handle imposter syndrome. Number one, you have to believe that you're good enough. You got to believe that you are actually at the level or above the level of your current accomplishments. Imposter syndrome only happens when that's out of balance. If you believe your accomplishments are higher than you actually are and you're not qualified, that's when you feel imposter syndrome. So you have to fix that belief by believing that you're actually worth it. The way you do that is through mental conditioning and tapping into what we call the super you. There's a whole framework for that. Point number two, how do you tap into that super you? Is you borrow your confidence from another person. Think of someone who you believe is qualified to be in the position that you're in, and carry yourself as if you were that person, then go out and perform. Now that you have performed, after you're done, now you don't have to borrow anyone's confidence because you look at yourself as an example because you just did it. So you can borrow someone's confidence for a temporary period, then you give it back to them. Now you can use yourself as an example of somebody performing at that level that is actually qualified to be there. And number three, how do you get started on all this? You write out your script. Write out your plans, your goals, and your expectations for your life, because goals are your expectation of your future success. If you don't expect success in the future, you won't have any goals. You don't have any goals, it's because you don't expect success. If you expect to be better in 6 months than you are right now, you should have a list of goals and a list of plans and a list of expectations of what's going to happen over the next 6 months that has not yet happened. If you don't have it written down, then you don't actually believe it. Remember that your subconscious mind takes everything literally that you are doing. So the more reminders that you give your subconscious mind that you're going to do something, that you want to do something, the higher the likelihood that it does it, because the subconscious mind will eventually accept anything that is given to it through emotionalization or repetition, and eventually it will accept it and it will start to go to work on your behalf even when you're not consciously thinking about it. That's where you want to get to. That's why I wrote this book right here, the red one, called The Mental Workbook. It is all about programming your subconscious mind, which controls 85% of your thoughts. That 85% that it controls also the majority of your actions. You think most of your actions are you just constantly decide what to do? No, you don't. Most of your actions are subconsciously programmed in you, meaning you are doing things and thinking that you're in control, but you're not actually in control. Read the book Influence and Persuasion by Robert Cialdini. He explains this, and there are many other books that talk about how the subconscious mind controls most of our thinking. There's a book called The Power of the Subconscious Mind by Joseph Murphy. Also talks about the exact same principle. And you need to understand this so that you understand that if you really want to make change in your life, it is not about you consciously thinking, I'm going to get better, or I'm going to work harder, or I'm going to make more money, etc. That's what most people do. This is the reason why most people who tell themselves these things don't actually do any of it. They just say it and they never do it. The reason why is because you don't understand the formula. The formula is you got to get into the subconscious mind, which controls most of what you think, most of what you say, and most of what you do. The way you do that is by emotionalization of thought and by repetition of thought. And the way you do all of that is getting this book right here called The Mental Workbook. I will show you exactly how this is done. Also get into my Bulletproof Mindset course, and my 30 Days Discipline course and my ASAP Confidence course. All of those are available at workonyourgameuniversity.com. So with that said, anybody got a question, put it in the comment section. I'll take a couple questions. If anybody got any, put it in there right now. While I'm waiting, daily motivation text I send out for free every single morning to everyone in my text community. The number is 305-384-6894. I just put it in the comments. And also, workonyourgameuniversity.com. When you're ready to take the next step in your game when it comes to your personal development, your professional development, going where you want to go, and you actually are ready to go there now. I'm not talking about next month or 3 years from now or whenever you finally get around to stop BSing yourself and you're ready to really do something. Go to workonyourgameuniversity.com. The link is right there in the pinned comment, and is also pinned in Facebook and Instagram. It's a link in my bio on IG. It's all about what happens in the university. It's not all about one thing. When it comes to mindset, when it comes to sales, when it comes to people skills, when it comes to creating content, when it comes to selling yourself, when it comes to selling your products and services, you want to start a business, you want to build your confidence, you want to be more disciplined, you want to be more mentally tough, you want a system and a process and a strategy for doing all this stuff. All of that is covered at Work on Your Game University. That is where you can get coached directly by me. My coaching program is not the cheapest one out there, but it is the best one out there. Why? Because you're working directly with me. And if I can explain it to you in something like this, where I'm making a general point for anyone to use, imagine when we're talking specifically about you, your specific situation, and your specific needs. All that is covered inside of workonyourgameuniversity.com. Again, workonyourgameuniversity.com. That's where you step to the next. That's where you step to the next step when it comes to your personal and professional development. Question is, what's a great way to make goals? Read this book right here called The Mental Workbook. I'll give you a link to where you can get that. That's workonmygame.com/workbook. That's where I lay out the whole process for making goals. And I wrote a book about it because not only do I tell you what to do, but I also walk you through it. I'll walk you through how to do it so you can do it consistently, and that you can, again, remember, emotionalization and repetition are the key to getting something through to the subconscious mind so that it becomes a real thing in your life. Again, workonmygame.com/workbook. That's where you can get the mental workbook. You can get the digital version or the physical version. It's a 500-page book. It's not all written words. It's a good amount of space in there for you to write in. That's why it's called a workbook, mental workbook, not just a reading book. Probably about 100 pages of reading, but then the rest of it is writing. So that's workonmygame.com/workbook. Workonyourgameuniversity.com is where you take the next step to get coached by me and get access to all of our courses, like Bulletproof Mindset, 30 Days of Discipline, ASAP Confidence, Business Builder, Your Body, Your Health, 30 Days, it says 30 Days Discipline, ASAP Confidence, 25 Hours was the time control course, the Work on Your Game system. All of that is inside of Work on Your Game University. All right, everybody got that? So we are 2.5 months into the year as of this recording. I need everybody here to get urgent, get serious about where you're going this year. At the beginning of every year or the end of every year, everybody talks about what they're going to do the next year and how much better things are going to be, et cetera, et cetera. All right, so we are about 75 days into the new year. Have you actually done it? Have you actually done the things that you said you were going to do this year? Have you started? Are you on the way? Are you about a quarter of the way there? Because we're about a quarter of the way through the year. If you cannot answer this in the affirmative, then that means you need to do something different than what you've been doing. Doing more of the same things get you more of the same outcomes. Everybody already knows this, right? Everyone can repeat these sayings, but then look at yourself and are you actually doing it or are you just talking it? These are things you need to be thinking about. What investments are you making into yourself? What investments have you made into yourself this year? When I say investments, where have you put the time in? Where have you put the attention in? Where have you put the money in? You need to be putting all of these things into anything that you're serious about doing. If you're not putting in all three, you're not serious. You can say things to sound serious, but are you actually doing it? Again, at the end of the day, you got to look at yourself in the mirror. Nobody else. You got to look at yourself. What are you doing? Have you done the things that you said you were going to do this year? Have you made the investments to get yourself where you are serious about going? Anything that you want to do, you got to put some of that in order to get there. So if you want to have more time for yourself, you got to put time into doing things that will create more time. You want more attention, you got to put attention into creating the attention in the space for yourself. You want more energy, you got to put energy into finding energy. You want more money, you got to put money into, i.e. investing into things that will help you make more money. This is the way that it works in life, folks. We all know the law of karma. Energy you put in is the energy that you get out. So if you want to make more money, you got to put something up. What are you putting on the line that qualifies you to make more money? If you can't answer the question, then, what are you saying? What are you really saying? What are you saying to yourself? Forget what you're saying to everybody else. So take all these things in mind today, about halfway through the month, as we head towards the end of the first quarter of 2023. There's plenty of opportunity out here, folks. The question is who's going to take it, not whether or not it exists. All that said, text me, you got any questions, or hit me in the DM. Work on your game. Dre all day.